Arnold Prentice helped his wife, Terry Prentice, into the low 2015 Corvette. "New models are already out," he hinted, settling into the driver's seat. He left the parking lot of Dr. Desi Faubacher's medical office and headed north on Highway 19 toward Algie, Louisiana. Terry grabbed his hand and giggled happily. "Let's see, you're 66 now, wow," Terry teased. "That means you'll be 84 when he graduates." Arnold smiled. The 29-year-old woman suddenly became thoughtful. "You're happy, aren't you?" she asked. "You really want a baby, don't you?" He assured her that he was delighted at the idea that she might be pregnant when she told him her suspicions. He reassured her as he made an appointment with Dr. Mark Faubacher. He assured her again as they sat in the young doctor's office, awaiting the results. But now the attractive brunette looked doubtful. 64-year-old Arnold Prentice met 27-year-old Terry Huvel at a charity event for St. Anne's Animal Shelter. Beauty was one of the volunteers, and Arnold was one of the donors. Arnold wouldn't care if all the dogs and cats in St. Anne's Parish died tomorrow. But the businessman knew that a donation of $1,000 meant tens of thousands of dollars of goodwill, good public relations. Terry knew she was attractive. She had heard it all her life. She had a sweet smile, big brown doe eyes, and big breasts. The few donors who showed up to the event with wine and cheese chatted casually with her while dropping a few $100s into the donation bucket. Their gazes did not rise above her low neckline. Arnold then walked over and placed a check for $5,000 in her bucket. For $5,000, he got her phone number and a date. He took her to Restaurant Henry, an exclusive French restaurant in Algie. From there, they went on a helicopter tour of the Atchafalaya swamps, and then we went to his big house for sex. Arnold Jerome Prentice was not an ugly man, but he wasn't a very attractive man either. His features looked a little pointed, his hair was a dirty gray color, and his eyes were angry little slits in his pointed face. His chest was depressed, his stomach bulged, and his legs were weak sticks. Terry wasn't a virgin when she fell into Arnold's big bed. She had 4 male and 2 female partners. Less than a year after the charity event, Arnold asked Terry to marry him, and she accepted. Now traveling north on Highway 19, Terry asked Arnold again if he was happy about the baby. The car crossed Highway 52 suddenly. A tractor with a trailer appeared behind the powerful car. Arnold's blood froze in his veins when he saw another tractor with a trailer on the strip heading south, also heading north. Ahead of him, he saw 2 dark dots on a 2-lane asphalt road. This section of Highway 19 had virtually no shoulders for 7 miles from Highway 52 to Highway 54. Deep drainage ditches lined both sides of the narrow road. "Damn, damn, damn," Arnold cursed as the tractor-trailer right behind them pulled even closer to his bumper. Terry looked around puzzled. She saw that a large truck was standing behind them, and the second truck, driving in the oncoming lane, was almost next to them. Ahead were 2 dark dots moving towards them. Arnold pressed the Bluetooth button on the dashboard. "Yes," a stern voice cut through Arnold's classical music. "It was supposed to happen when she went south," Arnold said sharply. "We're going north. I'm in the car." "About?" asked in a voice that sounded funny. "Cancel it," Arnold ordered. "Cancel. Why, Arnold? Why?" Terry sobbed, realizing what was happening. "Because, you fucking bitch, I had a vasectomy 20 years ago," Arnold screamed. "Sorry, Mr. Prentice, I can't," the man laughed. "Look, damn it, I'll pay twice as much," Arnold shouted. "It's not about the money, Mr. Prentice," the man said in a firm voice. "It's about my sister. Do you remember Gloria? She drowned," Arnold sobbed. "It was an accident. She drowned, damn it." But in response, there was only a metallic click. The driver held the trailer in a horizontal position. Then he positioned himself behind another southern tractor. The northern tractor moved forward, crushing the remains even more. Then the tractor with a trailer, moving in a northerly direction, moved in the oncoming lane, reversed, turned into the right lane, and also ran into the remains of the unfortunate car. Then the driver of the second, now northern tractor-trailer stopped again, just ahead of the scattered wreckage. Darren Lotto was losing his battle with addiction. He was now fast asleep, pressed against the passenger window of the tractor-trailer. The driver reached out, pulled Darren into the driver's seat, and got off. "What?" Darren muttered. The driver got into the second Southern tractor, nodded to his partner, and he honked. The first Southern tractor started moving, followed by the second. The entire ballet scene took less than 4 minutes from the moment Arnold and Terry crossed Highway 52 to the moment Eric Rodriguez, Gloria's brother, radioed that he witnessed a tractor-trailer hit a sports car. Darren Lotto will be charged with manslaughter, but will die from untreated hepatitis before the trial begins. Barbara Hinton took her 1978 Z28 to Hinton Chevrolet. Her 8-track tape in Boston is stuck again. Dad said she was pushing too hard, but Barbara knew she wasn't. "Stuck again?" asked Zeke, the chief mechanic, as Barbara carefully climbed out of the car. "Yeah, and I didn't do anything," Barbara said before Zeke could accuse her of anything. "Hey, it happens," Zeke shrugged. Arnold Prentice was a new salesman at the car dealership, but the 28-year-old has already made a name for himself. He was an aggressive salesman and knew how to convince a buyer to agree to those extras that added value to his new car. "Hello, while Zeke works on your car, would you like to take a look at some of the other cars?" Arnold asked the fat 18-year-old girl. She grinned at the man. I'm Barbara. My dad owns this place," she said arrogantly. "I know," Arnold smiled. "I saw your photo on my desk." He took her plump hand and placed it on his, leading her out of the repair area. "Just used it as an excuse to talk to you," Arnold admitted. By the time Arnold and Barbara looked around at the several colorful minivans, the love vans in their parking lot, Zeke had already pulled out the Boston cassette and placed it on the passenger seat. "Oh, hi, Boston, huh? They will perform next Thursday at the Biloxi Amphitheater," Arnold said. "You want to go?" Glenn and Peggy Hinton categorically forbade their 18-year-old daughter from going to a concert with a 28-year-old man. It was a school day. She was only 18, and he was too old for her. So she snuck out of the house and met Arnold on the corner. He borrowed a neighbor's van and bought 3 cigarettes. The concert was loud and noisy. Varvara tried beer for the first time, smoked a prohibited substance for the first time. And at a gas station on I-10 at 3:41 in the morning, she slept with a man for the first time. Barbara was grounded for a month, and Glenn was very tempted to fire the impudent salesman. But Arnold's performance was too good to justify his dismissal. And 2 months after the Boston concert, Barbara admitted that she was pregnant. The wedding was hasty, and Glenn gave them a honeymoon in Hawaii. Arnold was sure that the Hawaiian honeymoon was intended as punishment. Having a 250-pound girl in a dark van while drunk and stoned was hard enough. But seeing a 5'2", 250-pound girl in a bikini and then sleeping with her was excruciating. On her honeymoon, Barbara learned to give pleasure. She also learned that she liked alcohol. Arnold supplied her with numerous drinks. If she was passed out from drinking, perhaps he could avoid having sex with her. Fat, drunk, tanned, and happy, Barbara set up home in the small apartment that Arnold rented. A month after their wedding, Barbara persuaded her father to guarantee a home loan. Barbara liked to give pleasure, she liked to have sex, and she liked it almost as much as she liked eating and drinking. By the time Edward Jerome Prentice was born, her weight had increased from 247 pounds to 310 pounds. From Eddie's first cry, Arnold felt love, a connection with another person. The child was perfect, with dark curly hair, long eyelashes, and an angelic chubby face. Glenn and Peggy also adored their first grandchild. Suddenly, Barbara felt hurt and angry. She was the only child of Glenn and Peggy. All her life, she received undivided attention. All her life, she was adored and spoiled. So she drank and ate. By Eddie's first birthday, Barbara's weight had reached 338 pounds. Arnold continued to perform well, consistently selling more vehicles than other salespeople at Hinton Chevrolet each month. "So, Prentice, what's your secret?" asked the older, more experienced salesman. "It's simple, I don't care," Arnold said. "I don't care about their little problems, about their mortgage, about their high-interest loans, about how many children they have. The only thing that matters to me is that they leave here in one of my cars." Glenn suffered his first heart attack 2 days after Eddie's 4th birthday. His second heart attack turned the big, stoic, gregarious man into a babbling, slobbering, clumsy man. Arnold approached Glenn and Peggy with an offer to buy the Hinton Chevrolet from them. By this time, Glenn and Peggy did not like the impudent man, even if he was the father of their precious grandson. But selling the dealership would give them the freedom to do something they've been putting off. 2 months after Hinton Chevrolet became Prentice Chevrolet, Glenn suffered his third and final heart attack. Arnold held his wife's hand as she cried bitterly. Arnold consoled her, supported her, even made love to her the evening after her father's funeral. Peggy couldn't cope with the loss of her husband, her first and only love. Less than a month after his death, Peggy poured herself a glass of white wine and washed it down with several sleeping pills. By the time the bottle was empty, Peggy had taken all the sleeping pills. The housekeeper found Peggy the next morning lying on her bed with a photograph of Glenn Hinton in her hand. It was a photograph of Glenn Hinton in his school football uniform. Then he was a handsome and brave young man. Arnold arranged for Peggy to be buried with this photo. Again he held his wife's hand, comforting her as she cried bitterly, and again he lay down on her and made love to her. 3 weeks after Eddie's 5th birthday, Barbara Margaret Hinton Prentice, already weighing 412 pounds, decided to go on a diet. She stocked up on diet pills and fresh fruits and vegetables. By the end of the month, 4 weeks after the near-starvation diet, she had lost only 17 pounds. She doubled her water intake, doubled her diuretics and diet pills, and virtually gave up food. By the end of the next month, she had lost 53 pounds. She couldn't enjoy her appearance, though. Her vision began to deteriorate. Her hair was falling out in clumps, and an ugly rash began to appear on her neck and chest. Someone recommended laxatives and sea salt enemas. Arnold Prentice came home after working from 9 in the morning to 10 at night, as usual. It occurred to him that he had not seen or heard from Barbara for several days. Prentice Chevrolet was closed on Sundays, and Arnold couldn't remember if he'd seen her even last Sunday. "Barbara," he called. He entered her bedroom and looked at the unmade bed. He pursed his lips. An unmade bed was one of his many annoying habits. It looked sloppy. "Barbara," he called again. He gathered his courage and opened the door to her bathroom. Other people's bathroom habits were very unpleasant for Arnold. One of his first actions after purchasing Hinton Chevrolet was to install a private bathroom in his office. "Barbara," he called, not wanting to go into her bathroom. "Arnold," Barbara gurgled, leaning against the wall, sitting on the toilet. Arnold called an ambulance. University Medical Center in Lafayette, Louisiana, sent an ambulance, and 2 paramedics struggled to lift the severely dehydrated Barbara onto a stretcher. But as she struggled and strained, her heart gave out, and she died of heart failure before paramedics could get her out of the bathroom. Arnold J. Prentice gives an excellent performance as the grieving widower, and as the husband of the only child of Glenn and Peggy Hinton, Arnold made good money playing the grieving widower. He remained single for 4 years. This does not mean that he remained chaste, but none of his guests stayed longer than a few nights. In 1988, Arnold met Gloria Rodriguez when the 22-year-old woman was looking for an inexpensive, reliable car. Her long black hair fell to her ankles, but even that curtain couldn't hide her delicious curves as she bent down to look at the price of the small car. As she straightened up with a look of disgust on her pretty face, her large breasts were visible to the salesman as he walked toward a potential buyer. However, Arnold noticed Gloria first and blocked Dale Green's path before he could greet Gloria. Although he had not been on the sales floor for several years, Arnold switched into salesman mode. While Dale was content to show off the truck to the young couple, Arnold offered a full sales presentation. They married 6 months after Gloria Rodriguez walked into his car dealership, and Arnold even took a week off for his honeymoon. Hawaii with a morbidly obese woman was torture. Hawaii with a 22-year-old woman with a deeply tanned body made for a bright yellow bikini and an obscenely red monokini was a delight. If Gloria noticed that her husband was completely unsuitable for the beach, unsuitable for going out in public in anything other than a full suit, she did not show it. She played the role of a loving, attentive, flirtatious bride to her much older, skinny-legged, sunken-chested husband. Alone in their hotel room, Gloria demonstrated her sex skills to Arnold. 7 months after their wedding, Gloria was sitting at breakfast, eating her usual waffles with strawberry jam. Suddenly, she jumped up from the table. She barely made it to the bathroom before she vomited out coffee and 3 bites of waffles. Arnold was disgusted and pushed his own plate away. He hurriedly left for work. At lunchtime, he called Gloria, and she assured him that she was now feeling well. The next morning, she managed to eat a few bites again before she felt sick. This time, Arnold came to a conclusion and happily called Dr. T.C. Morris, the gynecologist who helped Barbara with Eddie's birth. "But I take pills," Gloria sighed. "Accidents happen," Arnold replied happily. At Dr. Pendleton Morris's office, the old doctor performed a routine exam, drew blood, and promised results the next day. While they were in his office, Gloria began coughing, a dry, hoarse cough. "Darling," she croaked to Arnold, "can you bring me some water?" Arnold stood up and left the office. Then he pressed his ear to the door. "Doctor, is there a way to determine the race of this child?" Arnold heard. He took a cone-shaped glass of water from the cooler and brought it into the office. "Thank you, dear," Gloria smiled. Arnold sat up and looked at Dr. Morris. He noticed that the old man could hardly meet his gaze. Arnold also noticed that Gloria was looking into his eyes completely calmly. "Like I said, the results will be out tomorrow. Call me in the morning, okay?" "Doctor," Morris said, clearing his throat. 4 days later, Arnold detained a sobbing Gloria as she told him about her miscarriage. Her tears were real. Gloria was a Catholic and believed that abortion was a grave sin. But she was more than a little afraid of Arnold. He had money, he had power, and he was a real sociopath. She noticed that Arnold Prentice had absolutely no empathic abilities. Arnold held his wife as she cried over the loss of their child, but he himself did not shed a single tear. He then prepared her a cup of chamomile tea. He added 4 of Barbara's Valium tablets to the hot liquid after crushing them. "Here, my dear," he said tenderly, "this will help you sleep." She should have been wary of his gentle tone. She took the tea and sipped, smiling at the teaspoon of honey he added to the hot liquid. She finished her cup, refused the second, then tried to get up from the couch. Her legs did not obey her, and she swayed. "Let's go, dear," he said cheerfully. "Maybe some fresh air." "Arnie, it's cold outside," she muttered as the cold March wind swirled around them. She struggled with him while he undressed her. "Arnie, here. We're outside," she muttered. "Come on, I just lost my baby. I don't want to make love." Arnold led her to the pool. She muttered something and stumbled. "Arnie, it's too cold. I don't want to swim," she complained. The ice water brought her back to her senses a little, but in a state of drug intoxication, she was unable to resist Arnold when he, fully dressed, jumped into the water and began to drown her. When he simply couldn't stand the cold any longer, he pulled Gloria by a handful of her long hair onto the steps and pulled her out of the water. Then, leaving wet trails all over the house, he went to the kitchen telephone and dialed 0 for the operator. April Boudreau came to interview for the position of personal assistant to Arnold J. Prentice. She was a plump, vivacious 19-year-old with long brown hair, big brown eyes, 34DD breasts, and a deliciously round ass. She couldn't type at all. Her Cajun accent was so strong that Arnold could barely understand her words. Many of his clients couldn't understand it either. But the 19-year-old girl loved to have sex. She also taught Arnold Prentice how to satisfy women. 4 months after she was hired, the short girl walked into Arnold's office, closed the door, and looked at him. "Well, we got me pregnant. What are we going to do about it?" she asked. Arnold proposed to marry her, and April stared at him for a moment. "I made one mistake. I don't want to make a second one," she said. "How do I even know that this is my child?" Arnold asked defiantly. "How do you know it's not true?" she answered. April quit that same day. 6.5 months later, she gave birth to Robin Michael Boudreaux. Arnold saw him 3 days after birth and knew without a doubt that it was his son. Robin had the same long eyelashes and the same dark curly hair as Edward Prentice. Even his loud screams were reminiscent of Eddie's screams. Still, April refused to marry Arnold. Savannah Mortensen came into Arnold's life, the same way April did, by applying for a personal assistant position. She was a tall, leggy beauty with long red hair and large breasts. The hair color was from a bottle, and the breasts were done by a skilled surgeon, but Arnold did not care about such improvements. Since April cost the stingy man $1,200 a month, Arnold and Savannah agreed that they did not want children. Arnold had a vasectomy and Savannah cared for him while he recovered. The 24-year-old beauty smiled as Arnold complained of discomfort and wondered if she should tell him that she had already had her tubes tied at age 21. She decided there was no point in telling him. After all, this is already in the past. Savannah didn't want children, she never liked children, and Savannah hated Robin Boudreaux, Arnold's son. The vasectomy ensured that once she got rid of Robin, Arnold's entire fortune would be hers and hers alone. Getting rid of Arnold wouldn't be a problem. He had diabetes and took oral insulin every day. He did not eliminate sugar and carbohydrates from his diet, claiming that this is what insulin is for. He had high blood pressure, but refused to eliminate salt from his diet. He had high cholesterol and joked that his blood was the consistency of toothpaste. April looked into Savannah's cold eyes and refused to leave her son alone with this woman. This suited Arnold. He really had very little time for the child. He had a car empire to manage. Since the state of Louisiana relaxed its blue laws so he could be open on Sundays, Arnold has typically worked 7 days a week. This also suited Savannah. There was no need to babysit her husband's stinky baby and no need to spend time with her husband, which meant she could do what she loved, spend Arnold's money. One of her expenses was something that Arnold fully approved of. Savannah loved silk lingerie and enjoyed the feel of silk stockings on her long legs. Another expense that Arnold fully supported was enlarging Savannah's breasts from 36E to G. The same skilled surgeon also added collagen to her plump lips, tightened the skin on her neck and throat, and performed a chemical peel. Arnold spent several $1,000s improving his wife's appearance, but it would be weeks before the pain went away and he could enjoy the improvements. "Damn, I could buy a new TV with that money," Arnold complained the first time Savannah refused to please him. But a new TV wears out over time," Savannah muttered smugly. "And these breasts will be there forever." In 2004, the day after Robin's 11th birthday, Savannah was undergoing another minor procedure when she had a reaction to the anesthesia. Savannah was right. Her breasts will truly remain forever. Long after the worms have chewed through her flesh and her bones have turned to dust, her implants will remain. Even after the death of his wife, Arnold did not find time for his child. He just kept sending monthly child support payments to April. Robin's father smugly told the young man that he didn't go to college, but was still able to make a name for himself. Robin Boudreaux agreed, but reassured his father by pointing out that academic knowledge combined with natural talent would be an advantage for him and his father. Arnold gave his son little encouragement or help. On the contrary, his hostility towards his son grew. Since Robin was in college, Arnold was obligated to continue sending April his hard-earned money. At least his son had finally accepted that Arnold was a busy man who didn't have time for him. Arnold celebrated the day Robin graduated from the University of Louisiana at DeGard with a degree in business administration. Arnold did not attend the ceremony. He didn't give Robin a graduation gift. There was no receipt from him, no watch, no cufflinks. There was a phone call, a voicemail on April's answering machine, happily announcing that her ride on the Arnold Jerome Prentice Grave train was finally over. Arnold, seriously, Terry said sharply, her beautiful face distorted with displeasure. What? Arnold snapped at his wife. It's not your damn money. No, but it's your baby, Terry replied. Seriously, we will have a child. Will you do the same with her? With him, Arnold said contemptuously. There's nothing but boys here, he said, conveniently forgetting about the vasectomy. A few weeks after this little argument, Arnold looked displeased across Highway 19. There was some construction going on there, kicking up dust and dirt. So every evening, after the men stopped working on the heavy equipment, he had to pay 4 college girls to stand in the heat and wash and wax his cars, keeping them free of dust and dirt. 4 cheerleaders from the University of Louisiana at DeGard turned heads as they washed and waxed cars, cheerfully splashing each other and strolling around in their bikinis. But this was a waste of money that Arnold would have preferred to avoid. A few weeks later, construction was completed, and then a sign appeared and a long line of trucks began. What the hell? Arnold shouted when he saw the words Boudreaux Ford in bold letters. At 22, Robin had no experience with a Ford franchise, but his mother had. April Boudreaux happily filled out all the forms, happily signed all the paperwork, and then appointed Robin Boudreaux as her CEO. Hey, Dad, are you here to test drive one of the Mustangs? Robin joyfully greeted Arnold as he flew into the new car dealership. You son of a bitch, Arnold hissed angrily at his son. This is true? And my mom always calls me son of a bastard, Robin chuckled. I don't know what game you've decided to play, but you're going to lose, do you hear? I'll crush you like a cockroach, do you hear? Arnold shouted. My God, who is this? The buyer asked one of the pretty saleswomen. This is Prentice. He has a salon across the street, the young blonde giggled. Do you want to buy a car from him? Arnold clenched his teeth and looked at his son with hatred. Then he turned and left the exhibition hall. Bye, come again, Robin called after him, then turned and greeted a potential client who walked in just as Arnold was leaving. Arnold watched as one potential sale after another went across the street to Boudreaux Ford. His own sales were still good, but Arnold saw every car that came in and out of Boudreaux Ford as a lost sale. Arnold's endocrinologist told him he needed better control of his diabetes. His blood sugar levels routinely hovered around 200 degrees. His therapist strongly recommended that Arnold exercise more and lose weight. Arnold, you are a perfect candidate for a stroke if you don't get your blood pressure under control, Dr. Faulbacher said. And this nasty thing you call blood, I'm surprised that your heart is working at all, the young doctor continued. I'm surprised he even has a heart, Terry said, and even Arnold chuckled at her wit. However, Arnold did not make any changes. His only form of physical activity was a furious, screaming tirade at every sales meeting in which he cursed at Boudreaux Ford. One day, while Arnold was at work, Terry drove her Corvette to Babbage's department store in Bender, Louisiana. Personally, she didn't like the underwear her husband insisted she wear. Arnold, easy-to-reach girls wear such things, she objected. So what? Be such an easy-to-reach girl, Arnold demanded. She tore another pair of stockings, so she decided to replace them. She liked tights better, but Arnold hated them. The garters cut my legs when I sit down, Terry tried to explain. But tights are in the way, Arnold objected. Damn, this is great. Is this the 2015th? Asked a handsome young man as Terry stepped out of the Corvette. Yes, it is. Terry smiled sweetly at Virgil Arsenault. Do you have one? Yeah, exactly, Virgil laughed. No, that's my cool Corolla over there. Oh, Corolla, I heard she can go from 0 to 40 in 10 minutes, Terry teased lightly. And at the same time they save great gas, said the unemployed man. This is what he came to the fashion department store for. First United Bank noticed suspicious activity at its workplace. He spent too much time looking at accounts that had been inactive for 12 months or more. Heidi Mock, the branch manager, considered this reason enough to fire him. After that, he worked as an accountant at St. Elizabeth's Trauma Center. Paula Lambert, CEO of St. Elizabeth quickly realized that Virgil was a master at pretending to be busy without actually doing anything useful. After this, he was fired from Abdul's jewelry department. He let a friend borrow a Rolex watch. They have already managed to steal Cartier and Cross watches and 3 Seikos. The street price for the expensive watch was good, enough to pay Virgil's rent for 3 months. Since no evidence could be found linking Virgil to his friend, only Sandy was arrested, but Virgil was left without a job. Virgil has just completed an interview with Brian O'Neill, the head of security at a fashion department store. Now he was grateful for his sunglasses as he stood talking to an attractive woman. Her breasts were phenomenal, but Virgil was sure she wouldn't appreciate his open admiration of her breasts. So, let's switch, Virgil suggested. Oh, I don't know, Terry teased as she walked away. Virgil turned and fell into step with her. I'm not busy right now, he said lightly. I'm dying to see what the Corvette driver is buying here. I think you'll be disappointed, she smiled as he opened the door for her. With the young man by her side, Terry actually bought sheer stockings to replace the torn ones. She then also bought a pair of red ones. No, I'm not disappointed at all, Virgil said as he carried her small purchase. He handed her the purchase as they approached her car. Listen, have you ever eaten at Clark's? Virgil asked. Arnold actually really liked Clark's, and Terry was tired of the burgers there. In fact, I'm fed up with this place, Terry admitted. Have you ever eaten at Salad Lights? Salads? I love this place, Virgil lied. Terry took them to a small restaurant and ordered a salad with grilled tofu and raspberry vinaigrette. Virgil hesitated and ended up ordering a cranberry-orange salad with ranch dressing. He showed his best smile, used his witty remarks. He tried to humiliate her husband, slightly, and nodded in satisfaction when Terry did not defend Arnold. When Terry suggested a walk to burn calories, Virgil noted that he was not at all dressed for such an activity. Then Terry took him to his apartment and watched him undress. Like her husband, Virgil had a slightly thin build, sunken chest, slightly protruding belly, and thin legs. They didn't go for a walk. And after Virgil had sex with Terry, she drove him to his Toyota Corolla, which was still parked in Babbage's parking lot, then drove off. Hell yeah, Virgil laughed to himself. With such a woman, I'll eat damn salads every day. 2.5 months later, Virgil walked up 2 flights of stairs and found the expected eviction notice taped to the door. Despondently, he opened the door to his apartment. Just as he was about to enter, 2 large men pushed him hard against the door. The force of the push pushed the door open and Virgil fell to the floor of his apartment. Hey, Virgil, one of the large men said cheerfully, slamming the door. We hear you like to have women you're not married to, another man said cheerfully, grabbing Virgil by a handful of his thinning hair. What? She never. I didn't know she, Virgil lied. A punch to Virgil's face interrupted his words. Then the 2 men slowly, methodically began beating him. Next time, maybe you should keep your seat in your pants, got it? One of the men finally said, and they left. After 3 hours, Virgil managed to crawl to the next door and knock weakly on it until the neighbor opened it. Mater Dios, the neighbor shouted when he saw the bloodied Virgil. At the funeral of Arnold and Terry Prentice, the casket was closed. Very few people were present. Terry had friends before her marriage to Arnold, but Arnold's evil temper and overbearing nature drove them away. Robin and his mother attended the funeral. Neither of them shed a tear. Arnold was cold, domineering, and distant from mother and son. Arnold's staff made symbolic visits, but none of them cried. So what happens to Prentice Chevrolet now? Robin asked his mother. Dude, I don't know, April admitted. But this is a franchise. I think they'll probably take it back. Robin contacted General Motors about continuing the franchise. General Motors agreed to a temporary continuation until its accounting team reviewed Prentice Chevrolet's financial records. The day after burying his father and stepmother, Robin put on his best suit and drove to the Prentice Chevrolet. He waved to his own showroom, then abruptly opened the door to the Prentice Chevrolet showroom. A group of sellers stood in the corner. Robin waited, but the 5 men and 2 women did not approach him. A young woman with rather large breasts sat at the table and smiled at Robin. She pulled her long red hair back, but looked depressed as Robin walked up to the group of salespeople. "Sorry," he said calmly. "Yes, yes, now, old man," the large man said without even looking at Robin. And then the old man says, "Hey, who the hell shaved my beard?" The audience laughed. Robin walked up to the red-haired woman. "Hi, how can I help you?" she said cheerfully. "Yes, that guy in the blue jacket. Who is he?" asked Robin. "He? This is Guy. He's a sales manager," the girl said, her beautiful face distorted with obvious hostility. "Which of these tables is his?" Robin continued. "This one, right here," the girl said, pointing to the table with a perfectly manicured nail. "Hey, well, how can I help you?" Guy asked as Robin sat down at his desk. "Now, Guy, you can take your things from the table," Robin said, standing up again. "You are no longer needed at Prentice Chevrolet." "What you said?" Guy roared, turning pale. "The same goes for all of you," Robin said loudly. "I entered your showroom. The only one who greeted me was the young woman at the table. If you value standing around and telling each other jokes more than clients, selling is not your business." "Who the hell are you?" shouted another salesman. "Robin Boudreaux, General Motors spokesman. Do you doubt my right to fire you? Call Steve Crowley in franchise," Robin said loudly. "I have his number if you don't know it." Under threat of violence and lawsuits, 7 vendors left the building. All this time, the red-haired girl sat at her desk, frozen in shock and fear. "By the way, what is your name?" Robin asked, watching the street through the glass windows. "Maddie," the girl said. "Matilda Bryan, but everyone calls me Maddie." "When do other salespeople usually come?" asked Robin. "They don't come," Maddie said. "You just fired them all." "Really?" Robin laughed. Within an hour, a job posting appeared on ZipRecruiter. They also advertised on Indeed.com. This was followed by an announcement on LinkedIn. "Maddie, you're the new sales manager," Robin said, leaning back with satisfaction. "Thank you, sir," Maddie said. Who are you?" "Robin Boudreaux," said Robin. "From—" Maddie began, pointing to the car dealership across the street. "From—" Robin smiled. "So Mr. Prentice was your father?" she asked. "Yes, but really, he was just a donor," Robin admitted. The following week, Robin, Maddie, and sometimes Bobby, the chief mechanic, were working in the sales department at Prentice Chevrolet. Many of those interviewed for sales positions simply did not have the skills to work in this area. "If you can't sell yourself enough for me to hire you, how are you going to sell someone a 30,000 car?" he asked more than one candidate. But eventually he had a sales staff of 7 bright, energetic young salesmen. General Motors completed its investigation and agreed that Robin Boudreaux could continue to operate her franchise. Either they never connected Robin Boudreaux and Boudreaux Ford, or they just didn't care. But with 2 car dealerships at his disposal, Robin worked as hard as he could. He left home at 6 in the morning and did not return until 10:30 or 11 at night. Maddie and Benita, his 2 sales girls at Prentice Chevrolet, made it clear to Robin that they would be happy to accommodate his every need. Simone and Clara made similar proposals across the street in Boudreaux Ford. However, Julia made it clear to Robin that she was willing to take care of Simon or Clara. "Great," said Robin. "Can I have a look?" "Maybe you'll learn something," Julia smiled. One night, Robin came home to find that his milk had turned sour. There were lumps floating in it. The cheese took on an unhealthy color, and the bread could be used as a blunt instrument. "Damn," Robin said. Arriving at the Burns and Burns grocery store in Algie, Robin noticed that at 11:41 at night, there were very few people shopping there. "Hello, welcome to Burns and Burns," the attractive young cashier smiled. "Hello, thank you," Robin smiled. The girl watched a handsome young man in an expensive suit as he pulled the cart out of the counter and walked on. Then Sage Smith cleaned her optical scanner again. Then I cleaned my conveyor belt again. Dolly, the only other cashier, just leaned tiredly against her cash register, bored. Dolly didn't even bother to return the extra items that customers had rejected. Sage smiled sweetly at the two young men as they approached her cash register. They had 2 6-packs of St. beer, Elizabeth Lager, a bottle of cheap bourbon, a bag of corn chips, and a jar of salsa. Party, she smiled as they placed their purchases on their belts. Oh yeah, you know that, girl. The young African-American man smiled, showing off a gold tooth. His white friend simply shook his head to the inaudible melody. Identification, Sage asked. I fucking left it in the car, you know. The young African-American man smiled. Run and get it, Sage said. You. ID. Lost, said the young white guy. Too bad I'm not going to do this without ID, Sage said. I told you don't come here again, Dolly shouted. Fucking bitch, both young men growled at Sage. Both of you don't come back, okay? Night Manager Jr. barked. Damn it, fuck you, the African-American began until he saw how big Junior was. Yes, do you think you can? Junior smiled, leaning down to approach the no longer so confident young man. I'll put it away, Junior. Sage smiled. Thank you, she said, without smiling. Junior was 6 feet 8 inches. He played football and basketball in high school and college. Then 9/11 happened, and he felt it was his patriotic duty to join the US Marines. Junior walked thanks to his prosthetic leg, but now he had no left arm. However, the giant was not embittered. He saw it as his duty, and the loss of his leg and arm was simply his price for American freedom. There are friends who have paid the ultimate price, he would tell anyone who asked. 4'10" Sage Smith knew Junior liked her a little. She herself perceived him well, but he was 35 years old, almost twice her age. Plus, the thought of being touched by someone who was missing a limb made her feel more than just mild discomfort. How are you, sir? Sage heard Junior ask a handsome young man in a suit. Fine, and you? Robin asked the big man. If things had gone better, I would have thought it was a dream. Junior smiled widely. If things had gone better, I would have thought it was a dream, Robin muttered to himself. If things were going better. Junior returned to the front of the store, collected the excess items from Dolly's register, and walked around the store, talking to several customers while he returned the items to the shelves. Sage resisted the urge to look at his watch. She knew it was not yet midnight. The girl examined the cash register, but there was nothing to do. Nothing could kill the boredom until someone brought her purchases to her cash register. She worked at the Burns & Burns grocery store for just over a month. Her mother and stepfather mocked and ridiculed Sage, pointing out that they did not work and earned almost $1,700 a month. More if you count free housing. Damn, there's more to life than just sitting around getting pregnant, Sage said. Oh, I forgot, her mother Amy snorted. You're white. Yes, I'm white. Look in the mirror. Mom, you're white too, Sage snapped. Sage Smith was Amy's eldest daughter and her only white child. While pregnant with Sage, Amy met Dwayne Jones. It was love at first sight for 4'7" Amy when she laid eyes on 6'3" black Dwayne Jones. Sage was born with fiery red hair and skin as white as a sheet of paper. Sage? Asked midwife Amy. How do you spell it? S-A-G-E, Amy explained patiently. C. Smith. Everyone there is called a Smith, you know what I mean. But my baby will have his own name, you know what I mean. Uh-huh, said the midwife. Looks like a Sage. But it's Sage, Amy insisted. Now, at 18 years old, Sage had 2 sisters, Age, pronounced Ajay, and Lage, pronounced Lajay Smith, and 2 brothers, Fremont, pronounced Fremonte, and Tremont, pronounced Tremonte Jones. The handsome young man had apparently finished his shopping and approached Sage's cash register. Sage ran her hand through her ankle-length strawberry hair and smiled. Hi, how are you? The man said as he placed his purchases on the conveyor belt. He lives alone, Sage thought, looking at his purchases. His bare left arm also indicated that he was alone. They went shopping, chatting mostly about nothing. Your count is 8119, Sage said. Robin swiped his card and entered his PIN. Sage, that's an unusual name, he noted, reading her name tag. Well, I'm an unusual girl, she flirted as she hopped off her box and began putting away his groceries. But it is pronounced Sajay. So what time do you finish, Sajay? He asked. 6, she said and jumped back onto her box to press the print button on the cash register. In the morning, Robin was surprised. 9 to 6, Sage agreed. Have you ever had breakfast at Dusty's? Asked Robin. No, I had lunch there once, Sage said. Their brisket sandwich. They have the best breakfast anywhere, Robin said. Biscuits the size of your head, the best milk gravy. Damn, that sounds delicious, Sage said. So, I'll pick you up at 6, Robin asked. Sage blinked her large green eyes at the handsome man. Then she smiled. I'll be very hungry, she warned. I forgot to bring lunch with me again. I'm in a red Mustang, Robin said, pointing down the street. He arrived at 5:50 and sat waiting. There weren't many more customers in the store at this time of day than there had been the night before. Through the glass doors he watched Sage work. She was short, so short that she had to stand on a box to operate the conveyor belt and cash register. But she had long reddish blonde hair and a lovely ass. Her breasts stretched out her Burns and Burns uniform, although the uniform itself was roomy on her arms and waist. At 6:05, another Burns and Burns employee came up and relieved Sage. 4 minutes later, Sage ran outside. Hey, sorry I'm late. Linda always does that. She comes late, Sage apologized as Robin opened the car door for her. Hey, that's great. What car did you say that? 2015 Mustang, Robin said. Robin drove quickly, hoping to impress the petite girl. Is this a new suit? Sage asked. What? No, not really. He's about 8, 9 months old, Robin said. But you were wearing a different one last night, Sage noted. Yeah, I'm not going to wear the same suit 2 days in a row, Robin smiled. Is this your real hair? Sage asked as they pulled up to the restaurant. What? Robin laughed. Tommy, my last boyfriend, he tried to do chemo and messed it up, Sage said. Yeah, that's my real hair, Robin laughed. Love the way it curls like that, Sage said, actually reaching out with a small hand and running her fingers through Robin's thick brown hair. Robin ordered a chicken steak breakfast, and Sage decided on an omelet with vegetables. Don't worry, I'm not one of those stupid vegetarians, Sage assured Rabina. Over breakfast, they chatted, the two young people getting to know each other. Then he took her home. Sage could tell Robin was shocked by her neighborhood. She could also tell that he felt uncomfortable, nervous at the Waters housing project. Can I have your number? Robin asked, taking out his cell phone. Of course, Sage said happily and gave him the number. Then she leaned over the console and kissed him. Soft, closed mouth, lips to lips. Later, alligator, she said and got out of his car. Robin drove to work and spent the day between 2 car dealerships. He then asked Maddie what romantic place she would recommend for a date. At Henry's, the last guy took me there. Then we went in a hot air balloon, she said. Wow, that really sounds great, Robin agreed. It sounds stupid, but Jack took me to the petting zoo in Pin Oak, Anita offered, smiling when her client said he'd like to test drive the Malibu. In her darkened bedroom, Sage slept. Slept as well as anyone could with loud rap music blaring and vibrating through the walls of their 2-bedroom apartment. She didn't hear her phone ringing and beeping over the blaring music. Later she will see that she had a message. She smiled when she heard Robin's voice and then gasped when he mentioned Henry's restaurant. She had seen the outside of the French restaurant several times and could only imagine what it looked like inside. Girls, even white girls who live in Waters, don't dine at Henry's. She quickly called Robin and agreed to a date at 7 in the evening. Sage put on her best dress, her only dress, and took a pair of tights from her mother. I don't believe it, Robin Boudreaux. Are you leaving before 10 o'clock? Maddie teased as Robin wished her good night. Robin texted Sage that he was expecting, and she grabbed her purse. Sorry, I just didn't want to leave the car here, Robin admitted, appraising her in her tattered dress and scuffed shoes. No, it's okay, she agreed. Metrody almost winced at the sight of Sage, but years of professional decency prevented him from doing this. The waiter and wine steward also held back their grins. Robin quietly canceled the hot air balloon ride. He then smiled as Sage wrinkled her nose at the taste of the wine. "Have you ever been to Babbage's?" he asked. "Well, yes, of course, every day, bored to death," Sage grinned. "Well, I need to go there and buy myself a tie. Want to help me pick one out?" he asked. "I think," she said. Sage had no idea what they were eating, but she knew she really liked it. She didn't know what truffles were, but the rich dark chocolate and raspberry liqueur teased her tongue and were the perfect complement to the thick, rich espresso. "Thank you, monsieur, madam," said the waiter as they left. Babbage's was another place that Sage had only seen from the outside. Robin quickly found a red tie and smiled at Sage. He pulled a strand of her strawberry hair. "What can I say? Red is my favorite color," he admitted. He then directed Sage to the Pedites section. Sage looked at the dresses, saw the price tag, and almost ran away. "What do you think? A little black dress? It would probably go with tights. Sage, do these shoes even suit you?" Robin asked the saleswoman. An hour later, Sage was in shock as they walked out of the store, a polite young woman carrying boxes of her new clothes, shoes, tights, and bras to Robin's car. "Sir, please, I can't. I'm not allowed to take a tip," the girl insisted as Robin held out a $20 bill. "Well, thanks then," Robin said as Sage slumped in the passenger seat of the Mustang. "There's no damn way I can take this home," Sage suddenly blurted out. "What?" Robin asked. "Damn, will they see those damn boxes? From Babbage's? They'll break down our door faster than shit," Sage said. "Then we'll take it to my house," said Robin. "Wanted to show it to you anyway." The house that Robin inherited from his father was almost as big as the building in which Sage lived. She froze at the sight of the three-story building with its sparkling white columns and a coup together with a well-kept lawn. Modest hidden lighting illuminated the front gardens and illuminated the front door. Arnold installed lighting to highlight the gardens he was spending so much money on. It also served for safety. Thieves loved the dark, and there was no darkness around Arnold Prentice's house. Sage marveled at the interior of the house, and that was just in the foyer. Her mouth didn't close the entire time Robin showed her the house. That night, Robin learned a few more things about Sage Amy Smith. She didn't like wine and Henry, but she loved vodka. The second thing he learned was that due to her size, she was a pretty cheap drink, and she was an affectionate, giggling drunk. The more alcohol she poured into herself, the more affectionate she became. After her second vodka and orange juice cocktail, she gave him clumsy, open-mouthed kisses. Sage might work from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. at Burns & Burns, but after 5 vodka cocktails, she wasn't a morning person, and she didn't consider a bowl of rice cereal and a cup of bitter coffee a good breakfast to wake up to. And as she sat down, Robin's old football jersey rode up, and Sage realized she was naked underneath. "What, oh God," Sage moaned. She covered her face with her small hands. We had sex?" she asked in a quiet voice. Robin let her suffer for a while. Then he shook his head. "No, you wanted to, but you fell asleep right after we got into bed," Robin admitted. "What, oh my God, it's still dark outside," Sage shouted as she looked through the bay windows in Robin's dining area. "Usually it happens at 5 o'clock, Robin admitted. 5? Damn, I'm going back to bed, asshole, Sage muttered. Robin almost ordered her to get dressed. He'll give her a ride home before going to work. Instead, he shrugged, finished his breakfast, then showered and shaved. "See you," he said, kissing her cheek. "Fuck off," she muttered, wrapping herself in his blanket. Julia at Boudreaux Ford noticed his joyful mood. Robin smiled and ordered her to get back to work. Another glance at the phone and Robin's smile widened. He didn't take advantage of Sage Smith's helplessness when she fell asleep after taking off her bra and pantyhose. But Robin Boudreaux photographed her beautiful naked figure. She had surprisingly large breasts for such a small, slender body. Her legs were short, stocky, and snow-white. He turned her over on her stomach and took a second photo of her lovely ass. Robin then put his old football jersey on her and let her sleep. He wondered if she was already awake. Her response was to ask where the hell he was. "I'm at work," he said when she answered the phone. "Well, how the hell do I get home?" she complained. "What time do you need to be home?" he asked, already walking to his car. "I don't know. I wonder when I'll get there," she admitted. "Well, what time do you need to be at work?" he asked. "What day is today?" she asked. She realized that she didn't have to go to work until the next evening, but she did need to wash her work shirt. "Well, put on these jeans. Yeah, the ones we bought at Babbage's. Have you ever eaten at Cowboys?" Robin said as he started the car. "Is it him? Is he leaving?" Jordan, one of the salespeople, asked Simone, another saleswoman. Sage's tight jeans and old football jersey looked sexy on the girl, and her mood has improved since that morning. When he arrived at his house, she quickly ran down the steps and got into his car. "Hey, I hope you don't mind, but I used your toothbrush," Sage said, kissing him. "Not that red one, huh?" he asked. "Well, yes, that red one," she said, "the only one there." "Oh my God, that's the one I used to clean boogers out of my nose," he joked. "Well, I washed it," she said. "What are Cowboys?" "A barbecue place, and they have great milkshakes," he said. For a little girl, Sage ate a lot. She managed to finish her brisket sandwich, her fries, her baked beans, and half of her fried jalapenos, as well as her double chocolate milkshake. "Okay, now should I take you home?" Robin asked. "Yeah," Sage shrugged. "So where are we going tonight?" "Sales meeting at Boudreaux Ford," Robin said. "So nowhere." "Oh," Sage said quietly. "What?" Robin asked. "So you're getting rid of me?" she asked, looking out the window of his car. "What? No, honey, I just need to work, okay?" Robin objected. "But we can't go anywhere after your stupid meeting," she asked. "Like where? The only place that's open is Waffle House. Do you really want to eat at Waffle House?" he asked her. "Who said we have to eat?" Sage asked. It was almost 11 o'clock when Robin arrived at the building where Sage lived. The noise, the sights, the smells frightened him. Everywhere he looked there was misfortune. Everywhere he looked, he saw sad or angry or emotionless black faces. Everywhere he looked, everything was in decline. Sage jumped into his car, still wearing her new jeans and his football jersey. In her hand was a bag of groceries. "My work clothes," she explained. Again, she drank his vodka and even pouted when he asked her to stop. "Well, last night, had 5 of these and just passed out," he reminded her. "Whatever," she grumbled, but did not drink the 4th. In his bedroom, she quickly took off her old scuffed tennis shoes, soccer jersey, bra, and jeans. Sage then watched as Robin carefully removed her pants and shirt. They had sex. Then they fell asleep. Again, Sage scolded him when he woke her up in the morning, kissed her, and told her he was leaving. She squealed when he slapped her bare bottom, then kissed him again. Robin started his day at Boudreaux Ford. Sales were going well, and the mechanics were working too. He kept one eye on the time, and at 11:30, he texted Sage that he would pick her up for lunch. "Really? You're leaving again?" Jordan asked as Robin headed to his car. "Hey," Robin smiled, "I'm the boss. You don't need to tell the boss how to do his job, right?" Sage wasn't ready to leave. In fact, she was still in his bed, still naked. They made love, although Sage laughed when Robin called it lovemaking. "Call it what you want," she laughed. "Just take me." At 12:30, he pulled her out of bed and ordered her to get dressed. He then took her to Dusty's for lunch. After lunch, he took her home. Again, everywhere he looked, it depressed him. If Sage noticed the desolation around her, she didn't show it, chatting happily. Sage chatted with Dolly, telling her about Robin, about their passionate night. The doors opened and Sage turned to greet the customers. "Listen here, bitch," shouted the young man, waving a pistol. "Open the damn cash register." Sage quickly pressed the no sale button and the drawer slid open. As she pressed the no sale button, her left foot furiously pressed the silent alarm button. "Come on, bitch, open up," the young man shouted at Dolly. Dolly wasn't moving fast enough to satisfy the addict. He pulled the trigger, there was a deafening roar, and Dolly coughed and fell to the floor. "Damn, see what you made me do," shouted the young man. "Oh God, please, I don't want to die," Sage begged, crouching under the open cash register drawer. "Damn, now I have to kill you too," shouted the young man, pointing the gun at Sage's frightened face. "Don't, I won't tell anyone," Sage pleaded. Just as he was about to pull the trigger, he was killed. Sage heard a roar a nanosecond after the young man's face disappeared. Sage spent the rest of the night talking to the police, talking to Junior, crying over Dolly's life-threatening injuries. And then there was Robin. She collapsed into his arms, sobbing and screaming. She almost died. The gun was pointed directly at her head. The young man was ready to pull the trigger. "She doesn't work here anymore," Robin told Junior firmly. "I understand," Junior nodded grimly. Robin took the sobbing Sage to his home, undressed her, and put her to bed. In the morning, he didn't wake her up. He just quietly got ready for work. Robin met Sage's family. Fremont made $20 by standing on the street and keeping people away from Robin's Mustang. Sage met Robin's mother. She was 44 years old, but to be honest, April Boudreaux looked almost 60. Her face was wrinkled and saggy, veins visible under the pale skin of her face and arms. April's hands were shaking terribly until she drank her first drink. Once April managed to drink her glass of premium St. Elizabeth's, her trembling decreased. "Man, boy, love her, yeah," April jokes. "But how did you find someone as small as me, huh?" I had to look it up, yeah." Robin's accent thickened considerably as he spoke to his mother. "But Smith, it's not some Cajun name, no," April continued. "Do you even know how to cook?" "Yes," Sage said, and pretended to dial a phone number. "Hello, Domino's?" After she downed her second drink, April tried to show Sage how to cook. Sage was afraid of the heat, and when the frog legs started jumping on the cast iron skillet, she almost fainted. "Man, it's just nerves, yeah," April tried to calm the girl down. "They taste like chicken." "Then why don't we eat chicken?" Sage asked. "I can't catch any chickens," April said. "Mom, seriously," Robin laughed. "No, you didn't catch it, no." "Quiet," April giggled. "She doesn't know that." They ate lunch and April had 4 more drinks before Robin and Sage left. During lunch, Sage also had 3 drinks, so she felt happy and loving. "Do you, see why I don't like it when you drink?" Robin asked. "What?" Sage asked. "I mean, I know she looks fine, but did you see how drunk she got?" Robin continued. He wiped away an angry tear. "Love her, but she drinks herself to death, yeah," he said. Seeing how upset he was, Sage actually tried to limit her alcohol consumption. The problem was that when she missed a drink, her thirst only increased. And after the first drink, Sage invariably wanted a second. And the second one was just warming it up for the third one. Over time, Sage learned to cook. She also learned to clean. Her mother never cleaned the small apartment unless someone spilled something. Cleaning a toilet, bathtub, or sink was unfamiliar to Amy Smith, so she did not pass these skills on to her daughters. But Sage saw Robin cleaning her house, so she learned how to clean. She actually read the instructions on the cleaning bottles and did exactly what it said. "What?" Sage screamed at Robin when he came home and wanted sex. "I cleaned all day, cooked you dinner, and you also want sex?" "Yes, Sage, women have been cooking, cleaning, and having sex since the beginning of time," Robin laughed. "Well, that's where it ends," she muttered. "You can choose either steak and gravy or sex." "Does one of them have rice or gravy in it?" Robin asked. "Oh, you asshole," Sage laughed and kissed him. "I love you, yes." "And you were around my mom too much, yeah," Robin commented. "You weren't a little Cajun girl, I met you know." Vernon Flehy was Robin Boudreaux's neighbor. The 40-year-old man didn't like Arnold Prentice, and Arnold didn't like the always stoned, immature sorority boy. This man won $500,000 in the lottery. He used 10% of his after-tax winnings to visit various stores and gas stations in St. Elizabeth and St. Anne parishes and buy 10 more discounted tickets at each stop. The risk paid off. He won another $200,000 after taxes, bought a house and a 1974 Lincoln Mark Roman 4. Since then, Vernon has made a living selling on eBay. This left the man with too much free time, so he often held parties in his 3-story home, with a 12-person hot tub and large lagoon-shaped swimming pool. Vernon never invited Arnold Prentice to his parties, but he did invite Arnold's wife, Terry. The young woman never came, but Vernon invited her whenever he saw her. When Robin moved into his father's house, Vernon stuffed his body into a pair of tight swim trunks and trudged towards the house. He welcomed Robin into his neighborhood and invited the young man to his home for a party. Robin was actually present, seeing 30 or 40 young, scantily clad bodies frolicking around. Vernon invited Robin to other parties, but Robin refused. Sexually immoral behavior confused him. The heavy alcohol and substance use that Robin observed simply did not sit well with him. But that didn't stop Vernon from inviting young, handsome Robin to his home. Vernon hobbled over to Boudreau's house and knocked on the door. He was having another party and invited dancers from the Hammer, Elegante, Mickey's, and Conquistador, a new male strip club in Pinocchio. Yeah, Sage asked, looking at the chubby man. Vernon smiled at the short maid Robin had hired. Hey, sweet chicks, is Robin here? He chuckled. No, he's at work, Sage said. About? Well, when he comes home, tell him I'm having another party tomorrow night, around 8 or 9 o'clock, Vernon said. He then looked at the tight t-shirt and short shorts Sage was wearing. You come too, Vernon invited. Is it tomorrow? Sage asked. Yeah, right down the street, pink house, okay? Bring your bathing suit, Vernon suggested, then turned and trudged away. Robin admitted that he heard Sage when she mentioned inviting the fat neighbor. Saturdays? Wise man, it's crazy at the dealerships on Saturdays. There's nothing you can do about it, he said. But that Saturday night, he still made an effort to return home early. 10:30 was early for Robin Boudreau. Sage, Sage, he shouted when he determined that she was not in the kitchen, bedroom, or bathroom. He had a bad feeling in the pit of his stomach. After taking off his suit, Robin put on comfortable khakis, pulled on a shirt, and walked to Vernon Flay's house. The music was blaring, and he just walked in. There was no sign of Sage in the living room, the kitchen, or the back deck. Robin found Sage in the hot tub. She sat on one dancer's lap, while the second dancer played with her heavy breasts. Sage, Robin snapped. Hey, you made it, let me go, this is my boyfriend, giggled a drunken Sage, pushing the dancer's hands away from her chest. Hi, baby, she screamed as she climbed out of the hot tub, her bikini top flying freely. She tried to kiss Robin, but he pulled away from her. Uh-oh, Robin's mad. Why are you mad, baby? Sage asked. Robin helped a suddenly remorseful Sage find her purse, shoes, and blanket, and they went home. Robin walked with purpose, while the short-legged Sage had to scurry around to keep up with him. All this time she tried to speak. I don't want you to ever go back there, do you hear? Robin exploded as soon as they entered the privacy of his home. Sage burst into tears. She had never seen Robin angry before, and it scared her. And in her chemically confused brain, she felt guilt and remorse, although she did not know why she felt guilt and remorse. Soon after, they kissed and made up. Sage then poured herself more vodka, and then felt even more guilt and remorse because she was drinking and Robin didn't like it when she drank. Although the alcohol made her feel quite amorous. Robin forgave her when she had sex with him. A few weeks after the party, April came to Robin's house to teach Robin a few more recipes. Already quite drunk, April parked the car half in the driveway and half on Robin's manicured lawn. Together, April and Sage made hot water cornbread and meatball stew, and April drank Robin's whiskey and invited Sage to join her. Vernon put his swimsuit back on and hobbled towards Robin's house. "Hello?" Sage asked. "Hey, there's another little party at my house tonight," Vernon said. "About 9, bring your bathing suit." "Well, Robin doesn't want me to go there, no," Sage said. "What? Robin, should I tell you what to do?" April asked. "Well, no, but he doesn't like the man, no," Sage said. But after a few more drinks, Sage decided that Robin had no right to tell her who she could and couldn't be friends with. April left the house around 9 o'clock, having to close one eye to see. Sage put on a bikini, found a tiger print cape, and walked to Flay's house. When Robin entered the house, he found Sage again sitting on one dancer's lap, while a second dancer played with her breasts. But this time they weren't in the hot tub. They were sitting on a leather sofa in the living room, and all three were naked. "Like father, like son, I guess," Robin said sadly and left the house. When he returned home, he found a jewelry box, opened it, and looked at a small rose gold ring with 2 1-carat emeralds flanked by a 1.5-carat diamond. The rose gold was pink, just like her hair, and the emeralds were meant to match her green eyes. "Yes, like father, like son," Robin said heavily again. "But hey, Dad, at least I didn't marry her before I knew what she was like, right?" Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even click to the next one.